So in this lesson, we will go over the 4.3 practice quiz. So first thing in number 1, you have 4x minus 15 equals negative 31. Rewrite subtraction as addition. So you have 4x plus negative 15 equals negative 31. To solve for x, first add positive 15 to both sides of your equation. So that means that negative 15 and positive 15 will cancel out. So you're left with 4x plus 0 equals negative 31 plus 15 would be negative 16. So you get 4x equals negative 16. Since you have a number in front of x, you divide both sides by that number. So divide both sides by positive 4. So the 4's cancel out on the left side, and you're left with x is going to equal negative 16 divided by 4 would be negative 4. So x will equal negative 4. Now to check, rewrite the original problem. So I'm going to rewrite it as 4x plus negative 15 is equal to negative 31. Now you want to replace x with negative 4. So you're going to have 4 times negative 4 plus negative 15 is equal to negative 31. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16 plus negative 15. So we want to verify that negative 16 plus negative 15 does equal negative 31. If you add those two, you do get negative 31. So because negative 31 equals negative 31, that means we solve correctly. Okay, number 2, you have negative 3x plus 6 equals negative 27. This is already an addition problem, so there's no need to change anything. So first you want to get rid of positive 6, so add negative 6 to both sides of the equation. So that means that 6 and negative 6 will cancel out. So you have negative 3x plus 0 equals negative 27 plus negative 6 would be negative 33. Negative 3x plus 0 is negative 3x equals negative 33. Now when you have a number in front of x, you divide both sides by that number. So you want to divide both sides by negative 3. So on the left side, the negative 3's will cancel out. So you're left with x equals negative 33 divided by negative 3 would be positive 11. So x equals positive 11. Now to check, rewrite the original problem. Negative 3x plus 6 equals negative 27. So now you want to replace x with your answer, which was 11. So negative 3 times positive 11 plus 6 equals negative 27. Negative 3 times 11 would be negative 33 plus 6 equals negative 27. Negative 33 plus 6 would be negative 27. So it does equal negative 27, so that means we did solve correctly. Okay, number 3, you have x divided by 5 minus 2 equals negative 1. Since it's subtraction, you want to rewrite it as addition. So x divided by 5 plus negative 2 is equal to negative 1. So now we want to add positive 2 to both sides of your equation. So negative 2 and positive 2 will cancel out. So you're left with x over 5 plus 0 equals negative 1 plus 2 is negative 1. So x over 5 equals negative 1. Now you want to multiply both sides by the number underneath the variable, which is 5. So multiply both sides by 5. So on the left side, your 5's would cancel out, and you'll be left with x equals, on the right side, negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. So x equals negative 5. To check, rewrite the original problem. I'm going to rewrite it as x divided by 5 plus negative 2 equals negative 1, because if you rewrite it as addition, it will just make it easier to check. So replace x with your answer of negative 5. So you have negative 5 over positive 5 plus negative 2 equals negative 1. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1 plus negative 2 . Okay, so I'm seeing here that there's a mistake because we wouldn't get the correct check. So if you check your work in the step here, that should be negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. So that's not negative 1. So our answer should actually be positive. X equals positive 5. So now I'm going to delete those negative signs. So if you have 5 divided by 5, that would be positive 1 plus negative 2 equals negative 1. So now 1 plus negative 2 is negative 1. So that means we solved correctly. Okay, number 4. You have negative 3 times the quantity x minus 2 equals 9. Rewrite subtraction as addition. So negative 3 times the quantity x plus negative 2 equals positive 9. You want to distribute negative 3 to both terms. So you're going to have negative 3 times x would be negative 3x plus negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6 equals 9. Now, since you have positive 6, you want to add negative 6 to both sides. So the 6 and negative 6 will cancel out to 0. So you're left with negative 3x plus 0 equals 9 plus negative 6 would be 3. Negative 3x equals positive 3. Divide both sides by negative 3. So the negative 3's cancel out. So x will equal 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. So x equals negative 1. Now to check, rewrite the original problem. I'm going to rewrite it as addition. Negative 3 times the quantity x plus negative 2 is equal to positive 9. And I'm going to replace x with my answer of negative 1. So negative 3 times the quantity negative 1 plus negative 2 is equal to 9. Negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 3. And now negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, so that means we solve correctly. Okay, in number 5, again, we have 2 times the quantity x plus 5 equals negative 12. You're going to want to use the distributive property. And in this case, it's inside the parentheses is addition, so that means we don't have to rewrite that. So multiply 2 times x would be 2x. 2 times 5 would be 10. So 2x plus 10 equals negative 12. To get rid of 10, add negative 10 to both sides. So 10 and negative 10 will zero out. And you're going to be left with 2x plus 0 equals negative 12 plus negative 10 is negative 22. So 2x equals negative 22. Divide both sides by the number in front of the x, which is 2. The 2's would cancel out on the left side, and you're left with x is equal to negative 22 divided by 2 would be negative 11. So x equals negative 11. Now to check, rewrite this as 2 times the quantity x plus 5 equals negative 12. And replace x with negative 11. So 2 times the quantity, negative 11 plus 5 is equal to negative 12. Negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. 2 times negative 6 would be negative 12. Since negative 12 equals negative 12, that means we solve correctly. So our answer is correct.